there. Welcome to the Hands Up for Trad afternoon show. Oh, what are we doing here? Where am I? Hold on, I'm meant to be talking to myself here. Oh, I'm back. It's good. I see we've ended up with a good start today. So welcome to Hands Up for Trad afternoon show. It's very miserable here today. It's getting darker. It's getting colder. My car is still making unnatural noise. He's got such a funny squeak. And the thing that's happened this week is I forgot to buy an advent calendar for the kids. And there are none left. No, but they can't buy an advent calendar anywhere. I've been in Marks Spencer's, I've been in Tesco, and I know there are other good supermarkets available, but not so good. Anyways, if anyone knows where to get an advent calendar by tomorrow, please tell me. And I know I'm already 2 days late. But we've got some fantastic guests for you today. And I'll tell you about them in a moment. But please share the show with your friends and tell us where you are watching from. And please welcome today's guests, Tim Dalling, Ian Carr, Paul McKenna, and possibly Pete Challoner later on. Welcome, guys.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. How are you doing?
Goodness me, what a lot of people.
You're very popular. Oh, here's Pete.
Pete says he's in the green room.
He's here now. Let me bring him in.
I want to see him.
Hello.
Hello, Pete.
There's Pete.
Sorry about my schmuck technology.
That's okay.
Very nice to see
you. Good. Who can I see? I can see Simon, Ian, Tim. Hello, other person.
This is Paul. Say hello to
That's
Paul.
Hi, Paul. You're all tiny because I'm on the phone.
Okay. I'm still as big as I always was.
I've shrunk, I think.
Yes, I'm definitely shrinking as well, actually. As my children get bigger, I seem to get smaller. Well, before we get started anyway, we are going to watch the latest video from Scaryvore. It's called You and I, and it's available to buy on all platforms now.
As the city lights go down and the amber fills the sky, it's only you and I, just another night in this old town. And we walked without a care through the streets we knew so well. It's only you and I, and the sweetness of the summer air. You and I, we held each other tight. The time will take its toll, but I'll never let you go. Your love is like a high. You and I, our love can never die. Together as we grow, I'll always let you know you're my reason why. The memories that we share can never be erased. An echo in the heart, always felt forever there. And we'll walk without a care through whatever comes our way. Together you and I, we can make it anywhere. You say, oh, 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 oh.
Fantastic. Great there. That video just totally reminds me of my own relationship. My wife would always be running up and down the stairs laughing.
Backwards. You do it backwards as well.
It's very clever. So
It
please.
wasn't much of a pillow fight, was it?
So anyway, please welcome musicians Tim Dalling, Pete Challoner, and Ian Carr. Now I say musicians, but I know you're all so much more than that. But today we are here to talk about the late fiddler Joe Scarfield and the brilliant new website www.tunebank.org. But good to see you guys.
Good
Hello.
to see
Nice
you.
to see you.
Good to see you too.
So Tim, tell us who Joe Scarfield was.
Well, I've known him not as long as the other guys, actually. Pete has a lot more history of him than me, but I first encountered him when I moved to Newcastle upon Tyne in 1987. And actually, I was a fan of the Old Rope String Band before I joined the band. But Joe was a kind of mainstay of the Irish. Joe and Pete were both part of the Irish session scene at the Cumberland Arms in Newcastle. And Ian Carr is a very famous guitarist that used to play with them. And he needed replacing after he left. He had too many offers of other work, so he had to replace him. But Joe was an amazing character. He was lived in Fenham in the West End of Newcastle and taught fiddle, but he'd got involved in all sorts of things. He'd always tried to kind of involve music in his politics and politics in his music. And I think he studied, what was it? He studied history. Pete, you should chip in.
He did
more.
biology, Danish, and history. That
was it.
Multiple degree.
When did you meet Joe, Pete?
We met at college in '77, and he was quite drunk the first time I met him, and I took to him immediately. and and then we discovered an interest in folk and trad music, and it forged a relationship that lasted till he died.
What was the name of the Cayley band that you were in together?
We were called the Flop-Eared Mule. Was there another name, Ian?
Well, you might be thinking of the Peanuts. What's the
Peanut
whole
one.
name of that band?
Peanuts.
We don't want the Peanuts. Yeah, you say it, Pete.
We don't want the Peanuts. We want the Plantation Dance Band, sort of political Cayley music. I was never in that. That was Joe and a few others, Ivan Sears and Owen Aronovich. They were great. They were a brilliant band. But that ran sort of concurrently with a Cayley band that we were in with Ian. And we started doing sort of funny little bits in between the dancing. And my recollection is that they kind of took off for us in our imagination. And we thought, let's just do that. So me and Ian and Joe did. Is that right, Ian? Does that fit with your memory?
That's right, yeah. I think we started being the Old Rope String Band when we went to Spain, the three of us. We went busking in Spain and had a wonderful time. And that was people weren't really bothered about our fake bluegrass, but when we stood on our heads and did fake bluegrass, that's when people gave us not very much money, but more money than. So we kind of went with that. And then when we came back, we kind of took it seriously, didn't we? We started practicing and.
Well, then
we
Joe got the franchise for that club, the Old Rope String Band Club, which we ran every first Sunday of the month, and we made a manifesto that we were never to repeat anything. We'd do a half-hour spot and get a guest in, and then we vowed never to repeat anything, which meant there was a lot of dross in there, but some of it was pure.
I remember I'm the captain of the spaceship. With Pete with his washing machine. What do you call it? The thing from the middle of a washing machine.
The drum.
On your head.
Drum from a washing machine.
Yeah, that was quite good that we didn't repeat that. Probably.
That was a spite. But that was a Spike Jones song, wasn't it? That was taken from.
It was a
Jones.
Spike Jones song, yes.
Yeah. And that was often kind of people that knew Spike Jones thought we were a bit like Spike Jones with folk music. That was kind of, which is a great ambition. I mean, it's like that's reaching high, but
a folky Spike Jones.
Yeah.
So, where did the name for the band come from?
I was never happy with the name, but Joe sort of thought it was such a good pun because Money for Old Rope was obviously something to be sought after. And at the time, we were a legitimate string band, so Old Rope String Band. And then Ian left, Tim came and jeopardised our string authenticity.
Oh, yeah.
So, Tim, how did you end up in the band?
Well, as I say, I was a fan already. The club that Pete mentioned, I'd performed there a couple of times doing different things, supporting them, and it was great. And then when Ian left, they needed someone else, and I think Joe was actually against the idea of having me. He thought that they would lose.
I was a huge fan of him and pushed for it, and Joe thought, no, we need a guitarist, but I recognised Tim's genius.
Thank you very much. But anyway, he seemed to sort of stick with it because I didn't, I never got the sack in the whole 15 years I was in the Old Rope String Band. I was busking in the town by the monument in Newcastle, and Joe put a message in my hat about doing a gig, which wasn't the Old Ropes actually. That was with another band, the Cheated Hearts, playing at a Tex-Mex restaurant in the town. But the first time I did a gig with Joe, but then he agreed of Pete's great idea of having me in the Old Ropes. So eventually we did it, But
Did you know Joe before he put a message in your hat, Tim?
Yeah, I did a bit. Yeah, through just kind of living in Fenham around the West End, and he was a character you'd know.
Were you all in Fenham?
Yes, we were, weren't we? Yeah.
Right. Well, should we watch a video? One of the Old Rope String Band promo videos. It's the one that you had. There's not a lot of stuff. There's actually no videos at all with Ian Carr at all. So, but this is a great video. It just shows you what you did. Let's have a look at this.
1, 2, 3, 4. Childish behavior.
Great.
What a good somersault, Pete. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
You were always a talented one, Pete, though.
Oh, yeah.
So that was actually a trailer from the Classic Collection DVD. There's none of those left, are there, Pete?
Yeah, with a few left, yeah.
Oh, with some left.
Online.
So there we are.
What's the website where you can buy them? Because everyone should go and get them. I bet they're absolutely fabulous.
Well, that's on the New Rope String Band website. Which, if there's a link, it'll be there, won't it?
Brilliant.
Sorry, I'm
gone.
Put my phone in here.
I just think we're having a wee dance. Or trying to do that somersault.
Yeah.
So, Tim, so this new website, Joe Scarfield's Tune Bank, what is it?
Yeah. Well, when Joe died, 2005, I ended up inheriting a lot of his stuff, just mainly because we had space in the house here and there was things kicking around. But one of the things which Rihanna, who's his kind of soulmate who lived in Holland, she gave us copies of these. She's got a set of copies as well. And they're like 12 cassettes, all C90 cassettes. And basically every time Joe ever learnt a tune, he'd play it through twice on his little primitive cassette player in the kitchen in Fenham. And that was just his stock of tunes. I mean, and the plan was, I think, every year he would try and play through all the tunes at least once. So he'd have this kind of amazing stock of tunes that just things he'd found off CDs or dots or learnt off someone in a session. So it's a real kind of amazing sort of cross section of, you know, what one fiddler kind of picked up in his life, really.
And Pete, when you were getting sets together, did you get the tapes out and learn from them?
Of Joe's?
Yeah.
No, this was just for his own benefit. No, it's Tim has enabled everyone to have access to this fantastic source. I'll certainly be doing that now, though.
I mean, Sorry, Tim.
A few of the tunes are ones that we did use in the show. You know, in fact, there's little notes in some of the notebook thing of kind of some routine that it was going to get used for or something that, you know. But I mean, it just, you know, some sort of idea for a sketch or kind of a bit of clowning nonsense would come up, and then we needed tune as a backdrop. Basically, that was the whole thing, was the kind of the comedy of interruption, really. So it was just whatever tunes were appropriate. But, you know, he had a big, you know, there was a kind of a big repertoire there that we all kind of brought to. But, you know, that was his own personal tune stuff, really. But it was.
I mean, as you've touched on, Ian, he had a lot of influences, didn't he, Joe?
Oh, he had loads. Yeah, he loved world music before it was called world music, I suppose. And his record collection, it had blooming amazing things in it, you know. And it, you know, it was kind of before the Andy Kershaw show, wasn't it? But I mean, it was the first time I'd heard stuff from Africa or Yiddish music or even Americana, you know, that what later became Americana. He was right into it, you know. And I mean, I hated country music before I met Joe, and he played me this stuff, and it was suddenly you couldn't dislike it because of him, really. He was very persuasive man in his tastes as well. So it was great. He really opened up my mind to lots of new stuff, you know.
Well, I've got a clip here of Joe playing some bluegrass music with the band called the Occasional Bluegrass Band. Another great name for a band. Let's watch this. Great stuff.
That's great.
Where'd you find that?
That's just on YouTube. When you put Joe Scarfield in, it comes up. There might be
was
another
the Occasional guys put that. One of the guys from the Occasional sent me a link to that. I'll stick that on the website. I mean, I'll put various links to things that I come across and find, and as it kind of grows with people adding to it. I mean, that's the idea of the website, is, you know, as a place for people to not only source the tunes, but kind of it's a way to remember Joe in a nice way. And already we've got a couple of people who've kind of written stories about the experiences with him, you know. So I'll put links and stuff up on there as well. But,
that's good. I mean, it is a brilliant website. I'm just going to put the address again. Here it is. I mean, it's good. I was just thinking about Joe's legacy. I remember when I first met the three of you, Ian, and I think I probably met Ian first, but when I met the two of you, Pete and Joe, you were always really nice to me. You always were always just really polite and nice, and you made me feel good. And you know, I was, you know, at 18, it was great, you know.
When was Hoots?
Sorry, Pete.
Say that again.
Was Ian still with us when you did Hoots?
Yes.
I think
yes,
so.
I was, because there's that tune on it. There's a tune on Oots called the Old Rope String Band, which was yeah. So I think that's not definitive proof, but I seem to remember me still being in the band at that
think
point.
you were actually, totally. I mean, so what would you, if you were Pete? What would you think about Joe's legacy? What would you say about
Well,
that?
this has enhanced it enormously, having given access to all those tunes. It's just an amazing thing. He was so organised. I mean, sometimes on tour that could be problematic because he'd be up at 7, and to begin with, he'd practice his clog dancing at 7 in the morning, but that was pretty soon stopped. And then I had to negotiate with him not to do his arpeggios and his scales till about 9 o'clock. So if he played tunes, he could just pass it through. But it's so incredibly organised, and putting down playing through each tape once a year it's a kind of tribute to, I wouldn't call it OCD, but just he was a driven man in a really, really good, positive way.
He didn't like He just to add to that, he never liked the downtime. It was I remember him. He was doing a long journey to Holland in the van by himself, and he'd taken a harmonica in a rack, so he's practicing the harmonica while he was driving. And there was always sewing projects in the front seat of the van. I think it was him that got. We started doing poetry readings every hour, or captain's reports or something. It was like stuff in the van, but.
We used to rotate twice. One person would drive, and then after maybe 2 hours, we'd rotate clockwise. And whoever was in the passenger seat had to entertain the driver, which involved poetry. Or we started giving lectures at one point. We had to research a topic, and we had to research we could speak about it in 10 minutes. I don't think that lasted very long. It was too arduous. But no, every moment of every day was accounted for, and he didn't waste a moment.
What's your memory of Joe, Ian?
Well, I mean that thing. God, I still wish I was more like that. He was the kind of person you'd meet and you go, I wish I was more like that. And even in death, I wish I was more like that. That you just described. He was great. It was just, I just wanted to be in a band with him. I remember kind of him. I think Pete introduced me. Was that? I think that's true. And I think we were playing tunes. I don't know. So, but the first thing was, bloody hell, it'd be great to get in a band with him. And he always had work as well. I remember that. Me and you in that. In the early Old Rope String Band, there was always a council gig somewhere, and always some blooming shopping centre in Sunderland where we'd get kids throwing stones at us or whatever, but there was always work. There was always a reason to do stuff, he wouldn't. I mean, I think I would have just sat and jammed, and lay in, but he was very proactive, hard-working guy, wasn't he? My other memory of him is that he had a beard.
I remember when he died, actually in 2005. I remember Ian, you making a comment. How is the world going to cope without him? And I always thought that was an interesting comment. And but the world's kind of pretty gone to shit, has to be said. Look at the state we're in. We got Donald Trump in the White House and COVID, and it's all because we didn't have Joe to steer us in the right direction.
I could have done with a couple of chats during the past few months. Actually, a couple of Joe chats. He always had a good thing to say, didn't he? But he would have been desperate, wouldn't he? Now,
he would have come up with a plan. I'm sure.
Yeah.
When he died, I remember. Losing. It was like I remember the battery ran out on my kitchen clock, and it felt a bit like that. There was nothing to refer to stabilise myself.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we've got this wonderful video of Pete, Joe, and Tim together doing a German TV interview.
I think it was Belgium, actually.
Oh, is it Belgium? Sorry, yes,
I
ma'am.
think it was Belgium.
And I have edited out Pete swearing in it, and but it's really, really funny, and Joe's great in it. So let's watch that now.
Goedenavond allemaal, ik ben Joe.
Hello, my name's Pete.
Hello, Tim. Sorry,
We are
Wij zijn
the old rope, the oude touw, string, snaar, band.
band.
1, 2, 3. They started without me, and then they got someone else. They had someone else, and then they got me. You see.
We had a proper musician before.
And we went off to Spain on our holidays.
Him,
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 and me.
The Old Rope String Band, een combinatie van muziek en cabaret, luchtig en speels, want er is al zoveel ernst. Het Engels-Schotse trio speelt traditionele wereldmuziek. Spaanse, Mexicaanse, zelfs Zweedse invloeden doorspekt met eigen geluiden en nooit zonder de nodige dosis humor.
We used to play in a ceilidh band for dancing. And in between the dances, when people were tired, we'd play a little bit of nonsense just to entertain them. And that was going down very well, so we thought. And also Joe was doing that a bit before with a band called We Don't Want the Peanuts, We Want the Plantation Dance Band. And it went down very well, so we thought, why not just do this? So we did.
There's no place like showbiz, there's no place like no. Everybody's feeling, everything's going well, let's go. Run with the show. Let's go.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, absolutely great. Hold on. I'm trying to get everyone. Everyone's disappeared. There we go. It's going well today. I think we need Joe in. Could get it fixed
Joe,
for
help.
us. That is such a... It really is a great film and actually catches you just all the best. Actually, even like the little remark from Pete that we had a musician or something. So funny. Tim, you must have had... you mustn't have taken criticism. You must have taken it quite easily in these days.
No, it was very deeply traumatizing, the whole thing, really. I've been in therapy for the last few years since we finished, but it's no, it was very good fun.
Well, it's fantastic. Well, I appreciate you coming on, but stick around. We're going to have a wee chat now to Paul about his new single. But I first want to say hello to a few people who are watching. Hi to Philip in a chilly Norwich, and hi to Sharon. Hi to Kath Tyler, who's very happy she found us. Graham from
Tyler.
Graham Brotherton from sunny King's Kettle, and Tom in Motherwell. Diane Jones, Emily W, and loving seeing the old footage of Joe. Hi to Gail Smith, Martin Levy, 15 years gone, so hard to believe. And there's Jill Newland and Liz Wright, both loving watching the old footage. So fantastic. So great. So, Paul, where are you, Paul? You're here. Hey! So, Paul, congratulations. A new single called Home. Tell us about it. Oh, you're muted. I think you might have muted yourself. Paul, you've muted yourself. You've actually muted yourself. That's going well. Paul, can you leave and come back again? So, it's interesting. Meet my friend Paul. He's grey. Paul will be back in a minute. He was working a minute ago. I'll just come back to everyone. And then we'll
Hello.
Hello.
Here
Hello
comes
again.
Paul. Can you hear us,
There
Paul?
it is.
Is that working?
It is. Excellent.
Okay.
So, Paul, tell us about the new single, Home.
Yeah, it's a song that I wrote probably the beginning of the year, I think. So before all this lockdown, and a song written about home, about Glasgow, and quite ironically, not knowing that we would be spending so much time at home in the last 8 months. So yeah, it's just the song kind of talks about kind of growing up here and all the time we spend away from home. That ultimately, this is always going to be home and always calls you back again.
So, you were born in Glasgow.
Yeah.
That's great. And what? See, in your career so far, did you study the music, or have you just been a professional from forever?
No, I did study. When I went to uni at first, I studied to be a music teacher, and that didn't pan out very very well. And I switched over, and I done a couple of years in the Scottish music course, and what was the RSAND. So I got that, and then got the degree, and just went back to gigging.
I mean, and as a musician, you have toured all over the world. I mean, you've always been very busy.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good getting to see different parts of North America, and made out to Australia a few times now, and over in Europe. So it's always been good, but it'd be nice to play more at home now. I think I'm getting to that. I'd like to be here a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. It's not so easy going away the older you get.
No, definitely has its pros and its positives to getting more gigs at home, I think.
Well, let's have a listen to the single anyway. So this is Home. Now, it's not a video, it's an audio track, so everyone's going to have to look like they're getting ready to dance for this.
She's no number two, she will always be my empire. The sword of my soul whenever I go away. All the places I've been, none can compare to her charm. When I come home, she holds me safe in her arms. She calls my name again, never lets me down. Gale Street and Barton Road, the Grove, the Ben and the Lismore. She calls my name again. I'm home.
That's great, Paul. Well done. Hold on, there's only one way to
Paul.
answer that. Last year, or was it 2 years ago, possibly 2 years ago, that I saw you playing the Transatlantic sessions, Paul. That looked like a lot of fun. That would have been a great tour.
Aye, that was great. That was a bit of a dream come true for me, I suppose. It was 2019. So yeah, a couple of gigs at Glasgow at the concert hall was pretty special, and then we've done a few gigs around the UK and Ireland, and it was very nice to be involved and play with all those fantastic musicians as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to writing a song, how do you go about it? Is it words first or is it melody first?
It's different probably each time. I think the words will be complete before the melody, though, for the most part. I think you maybe get an idea of a melody, and then I just run with the words and try and get as many lyrics written as I can, and then I go back and try and piece it together, you know.
Is that how you work, Tim, when you're writing songs?
Yeah, it's a bit strange. Quite often I nick people's poems. That's quite good. You says you haven't to write any words, but then you get you get odd lines of different lengths, so it can get tricky that way.
Yeah, because I think you've got 2 albums out, Tim, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah. One called Blossom and one called Eve's Bonnie Squad, which is a quote from Buns. But and that Ian Carr on there, he plays on them.
Playing guitar, I'm really good on the guitar.
Yeah. And Neil Harland, bass player.
I might have it.
Do you write songs, Pete?
I've written a couple, but not for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think lyrics first, in my case, for both of them.
Maybe it's time to get started again.
Yeah.
Yeah, comes a confident yes.
Go on, write one. Write one now.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of your voice. Drawback if you're a songwriter. What's this you're holding up, Ian?
Blossom.
It's still got the cellophane on it.
Yeah, I don't listen to it.
How have you listened to
it? So, Paul, your last album was called Breathe. When was that? 2019 or 2018?
I think it was 2019. Yeah, 2019. So I think we were planning on releasing something else next year, but just everything that's happened in the last 8 months or so has kind of put a spanner in the works, I suppose. So, because next year is going to be our 15th year together as a band, so we were hoping to get something to kind of coincide with that. So we don't know what it will be. There will be something released. It might be a kind of collection of live stuff, as much as we can find from over the years, which is that's been quite cool looking back and listening to some of the stuff. Some of it's pretty terrible, and some of it's all right. So we kind of just keep looking through that stuff and see what we can get done in the next few months. And
well, we've got something pretty great now of yours that we're going to listen to, and it's a song Beyond the Day from the album. And it's a great video made by, I think it was made by Martin Forey, is that correct?
It was, yeah. It was made by Martin, filmed in my living room, as it looked at the time.
Excellent. Well, let's have a watch of it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, I go beyond the day. There's no good reason to be afraid. We all must stumble on the way to whatever awaits beyond the day. To the shrine with the candles dim, we might be followed by autumn's wind. The light it flickers before it fades, all the colours fall away. Do we go beyond the day? Is there a place for us beyond the grave? Heaven knows no one can see if we remain beyond the day.
Fantastic. Great video, great song, Paul.
Yes.
Right, well, we've come to the end of the afternoon show. I'd like to thank you all for coming on, and it's been great to hear about, great to talk about Joe, I have to say, and great to see you people that I never see, Pete and Tim.
Yeah, lovely to see you all. We should do this for fun one day. I mean, not that it hasn't been fun, but you know.
And definitely check out tunebank.org. I've been on it quite a few times now, and there's some great photos of Joe. The tunes are great. You can listen to them all and you can learn them all. It's a really well designed and well done, Tim. It's a labour of love that you've done there.
Oh,
and
it was my son Tom started like to just kind of make sure he gets a name check. Tom and Raj.
Tom and Raj. But actually, what a labour of love to actually do that for Joe, because it would be in many ways it'd be easier not to, and actually just to bring his memories back to life is a what a thing to do. Well done.
No, it was a labour of love.
So great. So guys, good to see you. And
you.
I'll see you the next time. Hey.
Oh, hey, there he is on his unicycle. See you, Paul.
Okay.
See you, Pete. See you, Tim.
Bye bye.
Yeah, guys.